What's up, rockers from all across the world? Welcome to a very special interview of the Traveling Rocker. I'm in the secret dungeon, hidden lair, star killer base of Bias, hard rock band coming out of Orange County, California. They're the newest sound coming out, and they're going to fucking dominate your Spotify playlist, your pre-workout playlist, whatever, your girlfriend's playlist. Don't get jealous. So I'm going to go into it right after that. They're going to introduce themselves, and we're going to start this interview going. So please take it away, Joe.
What's up, everybody? My name is Joe Taback. I play guitar and backup vocals for Bias.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm David Silveria. I play drums.
Mike, I play second guitar.
Chris, I slap at the bass.
Slap at the bass?
Yeah.
Rich Nguyen, vocalist.
So, as honorary tradition, as going into it, always traditional cracking of the beer, or for Joe, cracking of kombucha. He loves it.
Yeah.
So, cheers, gents.
Cheers.
So, we're going to go straight into this. Bias is more or less they're coming from the ashes of Core 10. So, we're not going to go into that kind of stuff. That's previous history. But tell us about how Bias was formed, with you, Joe, and David, and Chris going into it. How was this band formed?
Chris, David, and I were jamming for a while with the previous project that we were speaking about, and we actually had another guitar player that was playing with us for a while. But coming towards the end of that, we knew that we created a bond in between us musically, and just enjoy being in a room together and creating together. And we knew we wanted to do something a little more substantial from our end, and something that we wanted to really stand behind and create with. So at the time, coming towards the end of that, we just figured we would start a new project regardless, and that we would try to find a singer. And during that process, towards the end of Core 10, Bobby Thomas was playing with us for a little bit, and we had some good songs that we were writing together. And towards the end of that, he just figured he wanted to go off and do his own thing. So it just left Chris, David, and I together, and we put out a press release to try to find a vocalist, and
Got picked up by Blabbermouth. Yeah. The press release got picked up by Blabbermouth, so it pretty much went worldwide. We had like 3 top candidates. We had a guy come from Germany.
I read about that. Yeah, that's huge,
Come
actually.
in,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. And he balls to the wall. God bless him.
Yeah, it was crazy for him to make that move. But Rich ended up being the guy, and thank God he's closer than Germany. So he can make it on Sundays.
I don't know if the guy can afford the flights every week.
Yeah.
So then I guess that's a perfect segue to how you found Rich on Craigslist, some casual counters, maybe Grindr, Tinder, Band Swiper, whatever you guys need to find somebody. So from those submissions, how'd you narrow it down to Rich?
Well, we got a bunch of good stuff, and there's a lot of talented people. So it was it took us a long time to go through. It was like over 200 submissions or something like that, and yeah, it was 3 months. And at the time, Bobby was still with us, and we were kind of grinded everything down. And when we got to the top 3, we sent out some tracks to everybody, and we got some good stuff back. And we had all 3 of them come down to the studio. With Rich, though, we sent him a track, and he sent us back his own version of our track, which was different right off the bat. And he cut everything up a little bit and rearranged everything a little bit. And at first we were caught a little off guard, like, who does this dude think he is? You know what I mean? But after like a week, we all like sat in here. We're like,
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and then we the next rehearsal is like, hey, we've been listening to this a little bit more. This guy might be onto something. So then we sent him out another track, and he took that track and cut it in half, and we ended up getting 2 songs out of it. So beginnings of 2 different songs, and then we sent him another track. So in a small amount of time, we already had 3 or 4 songs to play with him in the studio. And we were like, let's have this guy down and see what happens. And once he got in here,
It's clicked.
the vibe. I mean, you were hanging out with us today. I mean, you can just kind of see where everybody's here to do the, just on the same page. I think. But
I was the 4th dude, right?
4th.
Yeah, so I wasn't even in the top 3.
So you were the 4th date.
Yeah, I'm the 4th date.
Which, after just hearing them pretty much go through almost an entire album, their vibe is more natural than I've experienced in a lot of bands coming out today. Everyone's playing to get big and rich and famous. They're playing because they fucking like jamming together, and it's really relevant in the music, and you can hear it in Rich's voice, and Chris is slapping the bass, when Mike's guitar playing, and of course David's drum skills, which it looks like he's gonna fucking break the drum kit. But it's very honest and authentic rock, which is a rare and hard thing to find right now in this kind of convoluted rock genre, as bands are coming up out of the fucking woodworks, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever they need to do to fucking get their music out. So what's your side of the story of how you came into the band? I remember I heard like something, you were going on Craigslist and like finding random bands and hookups and doing stuff whatever you need to.
Hookups. So for like a year and a half, I was going on Craigslist looking for bands that were looking for singers, right? And these bands would post their instrumental music, and I would take their instrumental music and basically use it for fun. And chop it up. So I'd take their parts, and they'd have the whole song structured, and I didn't like how it was structured, so I'd restructure it and then sing over it and just send it back to these bands, but not to be their singer, just to have fun. Right? Because I can play guitar, I can write my own music, but I felt like I was like Korn, backed up to a wall, and just writing the same type of music guitar wise. So I wanted to like branch out and learn and grow as a singer. So that's why I started doing that. So when these guys did their press release, I saw the press release. I'm like, I want those tracks. I want to sing over those tracks, just to sing over them. I wasn't even going to send it back. But I got the track, and I was like, oh, this is great. It's got potential, but it's not structured the way I want. So I'm going to go through and chop it up and remove the parts that I don't like and all that. And I put it together and I sang over it. I was like, this is pretty good. And I showed my wife, and she was like, that's really good. You should send that back. I'm like, I don't know. I got to drive 80 miles to go, hang out with these guys.
Hey, tax write-off.
Yeah, there you go. So I ended up sending it back to them. And mind you, this is 4 months after I sent them my bio and all my music, that they actually sent me these tracks, so it's been 4 months already. I already thought that they were like, no, this guy can't cut it, so that when I got the track, I was like, oh, I was super stoked and ready to just write to it. So I wrote it in 4 days, and I sent it back to them. I sent it back to them, and they were like, hey, it's not bad. Try something over this. And that's when they sent me the other tracks. And so I did those tracks, and it was like so easy for me to just do it. I'm like, wow, why is this so natural? Then they shot me an email saying, hey, do you want to come down and try out? And I was like, oh, here we go. I don't know. Because none of the bands that I actually sent music back to on Craigslist ever really asked me to be in their band. They just said, oh, that's cool. Or they didn't respond or whatever. Like there was one band that I actually recorded an entire record. I sent them an entire record's worth of material back, and they never responded.
Like, fuck you then.
Well, no, they responded later, but they didn't respond at the time. And I think it's
we were so butthurt that he cut up our stuff in the beginning. I'm gonna let you know right now. We were all like, "Dude, what is this guy even thinking?" So it's like if that was just one song, like so I can see where the band with the whole album's worth of shit that he just raped is probably kind of a problem. But
hey, first of all, I didn't rape it. I still listen to that album because I think it's actually really good. But anyhow, like I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go down there. My wife, again, said, you need to go down there. Just do it. None of these other bands asked you to do it. You've been doing this. You said it's your hobby. Well, it's really your passion, so go and do it. So I was, like, nervous. I'm like, oh, shit, okay, I'm going to go down there. I'm all nervous. I, like, downed, like, 2 glasses of wine before I even came in here. I walk in here, and it's just 3 strangers I've never met before in my life. It's super awkward. We were like, hey, so what's going on? What's your deal?
Like long walks on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? Chop up band songs and send them back to them. No. But then we started jamming, and just all of a sudden it just started clicking. It was crazy. Like that first jam, we jammed for like 4 hours, I want to say. And we worked on 3 songs, right? The very first day we jammed 3 songs. All the other singers that you guys worked with, you guys only worked on like 1 or 2 songs? Oh, just 1 song. So that was cool. It just worked out. And they just kept asking me to come back down. I think the 4th or 5th time, right after we finished jamming, they all like sat like right here, and I was like right where you were. We're like, so, like a business meeting.
You were not the wink asleep.
Yeah. So you want to join the band? I was like, yeah. They're like, good. We were going to put rose petals out there into the studio, but we didn't have time.
Some champagne.
Yeah.
So technically you were before Mike.
I was before Mike because when I came in here, I was like, I thought you guys had another guitar player, and it was just Joe.
yeah, about that.
Yeah. So at that point, it was just Joe. And he was like, oh, I can sing some of the backups that you recorded on the demos that you sent back. I'm like, oh, you can sing. I'm going to write a whole bunch of fucking backups for you to sing. But with him singing and playing guitar, we needed to thicken up the sound. So there were talks about them bringing in a keyboard player. And, oh, man, I fought that, like, tooth and nail. I was like, oh, I don't
I'm
want
just
to
getting like a Europe picture. You're like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo," in the background.
I just didn't want that. I just didn't want a keyboard player. I'm like, I've never been able to picture myself in a band with a keyboard player. So I think bringing in a second guitar player was the compromise to that because I was fighting it so much. And then Joe said you like lined up like 3 guitar players to come in and jam, and Mike happened to be one of them. And Mike was your old guitar tech, right?
Yeah, Mike was teching with me for years. I knew he could always play, but I don't think he's been actively doing it. He was a great guitar tech. I never had to worry about anything anytime I played live, and I knew he could play because I mean obviously, and I've heard some of his stuff, and we were roommates for a while, and but when he told me, he's like, yeah, I've been working on the songs. He's like, I'll go out and buy pro gear right now. Like, let's, I just wanted to be able to try out. And we had him come in, and it was like, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like anything that, me and him go over, I mean, everything is pretty much on point. And he already kind of knows me, knows my style. He's been with me for the last couple of years, seeing like where I'm coming from. So he's done a good job. He's definitely stepped up to the plate and jumped into the fire because that's what it's kind of turned into.
I didn't even know Mike played guitar until after we had already talked about looking for another guitar player for a few weeks. And Mike said, "Hey, I already know of your songs," and I was shocked, thinking, "You're just now telling us this?" I was really confused. I thought he was joking. Really? And I said, and I think I was one. I said, "We need to get Mike in here and jam with us." And then it was just a few days later, right? You came in and played, and then, yeah.
So he was secretly creeping on the outside and just like, oh shit, all right, I'm gonna take this
Well, I
time.
knew they were looking for somebody, and so I was learning the songs, and I know they wanted to try out a couple people, and if they were, waiting to see if they were sure if they wanted someone else. So came in, started jamming, and we just kind of just kept going with it. So we're still rocking, writing new stuff.
So this dude, he literally would sit in this corner over here while I came down and was trying out or whatever, and he'd be like the quiet dude in the corner. All of a sudden, I come to one practice and he's got a guitar on and his guitar rig's sitting over there. I'm like, "Oh, you can play guitar, bro?" But fun fact here. We actually never asked him to be in the band. So should we ask him right now or what? He just kind of like snuck in there because we had like band photos coming up, and we're like, should we put Mike in the band photos? But we never asked you to like, hey, do you want to be in the band? So do you want to be in the band? Do you want to be in the
Do you want him to get on one knee? I feel like I need to be on one knee.
We've been through a lot together, and through thick times, hard times, and the happy times. You've always been there for us. Would you like to join this band?
Strengthen our bond.
Only if you guys pee in my puke.
Son of a bitch.
Already done.
So to go into that, there's a lovely video on their Instagram. You can go find them on Bias Band OC. There's a lovely video. You can't see the faces, but you can probably assume what gentlemen are throwing up outside and potentially peeing right next to the puke or in the.
Is leaving the affliction event.
Your guys' cohesion is perfect. Like seriously, it's a rare thing to see in a band nowadays. It's like everyone wants to pay to be a rock star, but no one wants to form the brotherhood of a rock star. Like that's ground zero for anything.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, there's a lot of great bands out there right now, and there's a ton of people putting out good stuff. But I think the if it wasn't for what am I trying to say? I don't know. If it wasn't for tech, we probably couldn't do a lot with Rich. And I come from an old school background as far as being in the same room with people, being able to bounce stuff off of each other, having that live vibe, being pissed off or depressed when you come having a shitty day and making something because of that. And I think that's where all music used to come from, for the most part.
Anger. Straight up anger.
Yeah. Anger, whatever. Anger, love, all that kind of stuff. But, and I've always been a firm believer of writing music together as a band. And so this is new for me, working with Rich the way we do, but for the most part, it's kind of a happy medium, because we can all get together 2-3 days a week, and we can always write something and put it out. And with technology, we can capture that, send it to Rich. Rich can soak it in, work on it, do his critiques, send it back. We can do another critique, send it back, and then by today, we've got something else to work on.
Actually, the whole idea of what Joe just said, I think we've actually turned it into our favor, because normally, if the whole band would be in a room writing songs, say we'll be working for 3 hours on one song, right? And then we kind of get it in our head how the song should be, and we work on it. But the way it is with Richard living so far away, we record everything on the computer, and we just make basic counts of verse, pre-chorus, chorus, whatever we feel it could be. We send it to Richard, and then when he cuts it up, it actually, what I first thought would be kind of a little bit of a hard thing to do is having him and the band living so far away, only be able to come down once a week. I think we've actually turned it to our advantage, because now we come in and we'll work on things for 2 or 3 days straight for hours at a time, and we send the raw tracks to Richard, and then he hears it for the first time. So his impression of it is completely different than what it's built up to be in our head, because we've been working on this song for hours, right? He hears it, he gets a full, fresh perspective on it, and then he cuts it up and he's able to put vocals over it, and he brings it back to us, and we're thinking, okay, we didn't even hear it like this. We didn't know. So I think it's actually worked out to our advantage to give him fresh music, with a completely new perspective on it.
Well, then coming in when he does come in on that once a week.
Well, he chops music up at his house and sends it to us. He usually gets it to us a couple days before he's ready to come down. So we're listening to the new structure, whether driving around or I lay in bed at night, listen to headphones, and we're listening to a new structure. So we come in and we kind of know what's going to go on.
Well, then it makes it so much easier when he gets here, because then it's like you guys can go straight into fucking jamming and working on it, so you don't have to hush that 3 hours. Like, what do you turn this down or everything went out? It's like perfect then, really.
Right. So what I did was I created a mix template of everything. So whenever I get the tracks, I just import it into my mix template. Everything's mixed already, and then I'll go through and sometimes I'll build a riff out of their riffs. Like I'll just make a new riff out of their riffs. I'll just cut it up and then put it all together. And that works. And, you know, I can play guitar too. So sometimes I can be like, hey, you know, this progression is wrong. Or I'm feeling like this part should be more like aggressive or groovy or whatever. Or there needs to be a fill right here, you know. So I'll send that back. But I'll always come down with ideas too. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm kind of there working with them, but I'm not.
And that's a huge part of us wanting Rich to be in this band was because he had his own opinion, and he brought his own stuff to the table. And he does know how to play guitar too. And you know, when I'm struggling to find a riff or something's not going right, and you know, he'll take us in a direction that the four of us wouldn't normally go. And you know, whether he chops something up back and we're like, nah, dude, that's whack, but we'll try something else. But that's the key for me with music, is because that's the bounce back. Because I wouldn't have thought about this if he didn't bring out that. You know what I mean? And that's the whole key of it for me. You know.
But you know what? Just to circle back on what you were talking about originally, I think we got really lucky with this band because there's so much chemistry between us. I mean, there's like automatic chemistry.
Zero egos.
Yeah, there's no egos at all. But the chemistry, it's just like we're good friends. You know, as soon as the second practice, we were all joking with each other and drinking and whatever and just laughing. And I think that's the most important part. You know, if you can't laugh and have a good time with your band and you're just in a band to try to be famous or whatever you're trying to do, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's not something that I even thought about when I walked into the room to try out. Like, when I walked in, I was like, okay, what's the musical talent going to be, you know, whatever. And that just all went out the window once we started jamming together because it just clicked. And we got really lucky.
Well, then, so luck, music, and just actually talent, because you all are fucking talented. Like, it's not just pure luck as well. I mean, it's luck that you found them and through the submission and picked them out, but it's the musicianship that each of you bring that make it a fucking complete circle.
Absolutely.
And you guys are really, I really believe you guys are going to be the next big rock thing coming out of OC. Like,
that sounds really good, man.
Not to get all teary and shit, you know. But you only do have 2 singles out on Spotify right now, Pity and Change Your Mind. Is there going to be another release tentative coming out? And if so, is there a timeline or an album, EP, something?
I mean, technically we re-released both those singles just as a single. Like, back in the day, you used to be able to buy a single and you got a B-side to it. And that was kind of what we were trying to roll with.
When people bought CDs. That's Tower Records.
When people bought music. And, you know, most people are streaming these days and doing whatever. So whether we release 1 song, 2 songs, it didn't matter. But we definitely wanted to get out there and be able to showcase Rich's voice and what we do musically. And I think the diversity of the 2, I think you could kind of see where we're coming from. We've got something. We have an additional single that we can release right now, and we've been talking about that pretty in-depthly the last month or so of what we're going to be doing, because we're on radio and stuff right now with Pity. But whether we follow up with that with just another single or we save that for the album, I don't think we've really decided yet, but we definitely got an album's worth of stuff, so that's what's going to be next. Whether we release that or not, we haven't really come down to a firm answer.
So my opinion is we need to because I have my own opinion. My opinion is we need to finish up these last 3 songs that we need to write. When we went into the writing process, we kind of wanted to write a bunch of songs that we could cherry pick from to make sure that we put out just the best album that we could possibly put out. just not something that we kind of threw together. So we have 3 songs left to hit that goal, right? Well, actually 2 songs now. We just hit song number 12. So, so there's still 3 left.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
The goal was 15.
Right. So the goal was 15 to 20.
Yeah.
But we'll say 15. So we have 3 songs to write. After those 3 songs are done, we want to sit down and do some pre-production with our producer, and then get in the studio and track them all, And maybe while we're tracking, we'll throw out another single. But the whole point of us releasing Pity and Change Your Mind was so that people could hear what we sounded like and basically break the mold that was formed from the previous band that these guys were in.
We needed some redemption. We need redemption for sure. We're sorry, very sorry. It's all done.
But when we wrote Pity, I mean, when I first came into this, we just wanted to be like a hard rock band, like, just hard rock, no metal elements or anything like that. And then we wrote Pity, and we're like, damn, we got a taste of some of the harder stuff. And everything we've written after that has been a little bit harder and harder and harder. I mean, you heard it.
So then what would you guys put yourself as in genre-esque? Is just purely hard rock, or just like post-core, death metal? He doesn't scream like death metal, but what would you put as that category? Yes.
Straight up, we'll rip your head off and shit down your neck.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not right. My opinion is that we're an alternative hard rock or alternative metal.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say alternative metal or alternative rock. I think
Somebody said post-grunge.
new grunge metal is
New
what they
grunge
call
metal.
it.
I don't even know what alternative metal means, but I think I really don't even know how to describe it, because for the music that I hear out today, which I rarely listen to it because every time I put it on the radio, I can't stand what I hear. It sounds like total shit, to be honest. But I listen to old shit. That's all I listen to. But anyways, I don't really even know how to categorize our music, because the music minus the vocals kind of reminds me of like when the whole genre of nu metal came out, but
Yeah.
the first iteration of it, like with Korn and all that, the very first genre of that, the music more reminds me of that era, but the vocals are more melodic and with some screaming over it, but the vocals are not in that within that area. It's like a mixture of 2 different genres.
Yeah, no
So I don't-
electronic
so-
stuff going behind it for that new metal.
Yeah, there's no pre-recorded. I play samples, but there's no pre-recorded tracks. But the music reminds me of the first iteration of nu metal without the vocals. But the vocals reminds me of a lot more melodic plus some screaming. So the vocals are more, more like earlier Linkin Park kind of like something like that. So I don't really know how to describe us. I don't want to call us nu metal because we're not. I don't want to call us heavy metal because we're not. I don't want to call us nu metal because I don't think we really are that either. I don't really know how to categorize us.
just
I
rock.
think it's different. It
Just
definitely
rock.
has a different sound.
What do you think?
Any ideas?
I don't.
I mean, you heard all of our stuff, so I mean, where would you put us? I mean, you talk to every rock band in the business, so I mean, where would you put us genre-wise?
I would definitely say hard rock. Like, you're just a solid hard rock band, like just a great hard rock band, like under the Godsmack category. They have great melodical songs when they do it, and then they can go heavy when they choose to, and that's the perfect blend and melody, because you want to have those great radio friendly songs, but then you want to have a huge fucking pit and someone dropping in there, and you do have that, but a good balance, not an awkward balance, but a nice flow together. So just definitely a solid hard rock sound.
I mean, that's definitely one of the reasons that we asked Richard to be in the band, was because of his melodic singing and his ability to scream when necessary. Because the last thing we wanted to do was be a heavy band with just someone who screams all the time. So when he came in and started singing melodies, we all looked at each other and went, "This guy's good. This is good."
Fun fact, I wasn't even screaming when I first came into the band. I was only singing. And then we wrote Pity and I started screaming. I had to. Like, like that breakdown, I was like, oh shit. Oh, okay, I'm gonna fucking scream.
Well, then how did you find it? How did you find your screaming voice, for that? Because that is a sick breakdown.
I've always had a scream. I was just trying to grow up and not scream anymore. But it just kind of like, it fit there. So I was like, I need to do it because it goes right there. If I didn't scream it, because, live I'll do the high scream. I'll do the fry scream, But if I didn't do that, it wouldn't be as intense, So it just, I do my screams to where it's not the whole song, because I don't want to scream an entire song, just on parts that need more oomph,
And it's from the live videos that I've seen, you definitely perform even better live than on record, which is hard for an artist to do that. Because I haven't unfortunately been able to catch you just because of timing schedules, which they have a couple new shows coming up, but it's rare for especially a singer to be able to sound better live than on record and
Thanks.
even project that vocal. There's very, very few, and there's some that are even worse live than they are on record. It's just the nature of the genre and how people are. But you just finished up an awesome concert with Crazy Town over in Malone's in Orange County. What are a couple of new dates that you guys have planned going forth through 2019?
Next month on June 8th. A couple weeks we're going out to Palm Desert. We're going to be playing with our boys in Annabelle Asylum and Dropout Kings at a small club out there, just to go out and have some fun. Those kids are coming up. They're doing really great with their stuff as far as Annabelle Asylum's going. I'm super proud of them. They've always been supportive of us. And so we're going to go out and be supportive of them. After that, I believe we are playing with Orgy at the Whiskey A Go-Go at their hometown show. I think that's August 9th. And then we don't really have anything going for June and July. That's my time. My kid comes out. She's back in Illinois, so we're going to be hanging out doing some stuff, and we'll hopefully be in the studio around that time, finishing out. September, we are going up to Sacramento, and we're going to do Vet Tracks with Flaw, and it's a fundraiser. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it's a fundraiser for veterans. Yep.
ALS Vets. So Vet Tracks is an ALS festival. Flaw headlined it last year, and they're going to headline again this year. It's put together by Eric Lewis and company, I guess, and he's in a band also called Failure by Proxy. And I know that the Vet Tracks organization, they do recordings for bands with vets in it, so it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. That's really awesome that you guys are doing that, especially for veterans. Veterans have, as a veteran myself, we're big into the hard rock genre and things like that. So that's a good soft spot for me for seeing bands like that.
Speaking of doing this Vet Track show, I mean, being in Korn for all those years, I've done everything, played everywhere, achieved a lot. But what I never got to do, which I always wanted to do, was play on military bases. I think they have since I've left the band, but I was never fortunate enough to do that. So hopefully, once we get on worldwide tours, our goal is definitely to make stops in as many military bases around the world as we can and play for active service members.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. They'll appreciate it themselves, because even I was deployed in Afghanistan. We had Hubastain come out there and a couple other bands just for fun, and no matter what, even if they weren't rock fans, they just came out and they loved it. That's gonna.
Yeah,
be
I've seen
huge.
videos of different bands doing that stuff, but I mean, obviously, the king of doing that stuff is Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
So I've seen tons of videos of him doing it, and I've always seen that and said, man, I would love to do that. Play as many military bases as we could possibly hit, whether in the United States or Europe or wherever it may be, anywhere.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So again, their next show is June 8th out in Palm Desert, and then so is the Vet Tracks. When is that, before or after
September 21st.
So it's after the August one with Orgy at Whiskey A Go-Go, which is August 9th. So you guys have a good spacing around, but you're spreading out all over California, so it's kind of perfect. So you have, if you're in Southern California area, you have no reason not to be at the show with me, with your horns up, with a beer. Yeah.
We're possibly gonna book some dates in between too, going to Sacramento, maybe Bakersfield or Fresno or Frisco, somewhere in between. So we'd like to hit a couple other towns in between.
Which, to keep up the track with all their stuff, follow them on Instagram at biasband.oc, and on their website as well. I'll have that link down in the video and all their stuff, so you can get up to date, stay up to date, and know when they're going to play and see all their progress they're doing with their new tracks and when their album's coming out, because it's going to be fucking amazing. Thank you guys so much for taking the time on your Sunday and let me hear you guys jam and play, do the whole fucking set list. It was like an own private show, and it was amazing. It truly was. You guys are a great sound. They're going to be coming out of OC, and everyone is definitely going to be looking out for them. They're already downloaded on my Spotify for my workout I did this morning, especially Purify Beauty, and it was awesome. So you guys thank you again for this.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And so I have this and all their links below, so you can find them, follow them, all that stuff. Double hearted, triple 1,000 fucking times on their Instagram. And so thank you for tuning in for the Traveling Rocker, and horns up, guys.